Hey everybody, it's been a little while, but I'm back with probably a pretty short video. Um, Probably wondering why I have a really poor condition card up here, and I will get to that. I always forget to say it. I put it in the description, but you can follow me on Instagram. My name there is the same as it is here. Baseball card stuff. I post here and there on Instagram if you want to follow. Um, So, I've got my regular podcasts I listen to, the 1988 Tops podcast, the Golden Age of Cardboard, a couple others that I dabble in. And I gotta apologize for all the people who comment on YouTube, who follow me. I don't really do as much YouTube watching as I should. I just usually have time to deal with doing baseball card listening or watching when I'm driving in the car. So it's a lot of podcasts for me more than YouTube, but I appreciate people who are watching here, even if I don't see enough of your videos. And I might be watching yours, but I just don't comment. So I watch some of them. So I appreciate that. But I found another podcast that I really, really like. It's called Turn Back the Clock. It's a little confusing. You have to search, I think, Splendid Sports on podcasts like Spotify or whatever. And I was just searching vintage baseball, and I came across that one. And I've listened to 4 or 5 of the recent episodes, and it's really awesome. And I really like that even when they talk about modern cards, it's pretty heavy on vintage, but they talk about modern cards that it's most modern card podcasts that I've dabbled in listening to. It's just all about flipping cards, and the values are the number one thing. And it's just not. It's interesting to listen to sometimes, but it's just not what I'm here for. So they had a one episode on modern cards versus vintage cards, and it was really cool because they gave reasons to collect modern cards that were just still about the love of collecting. And I just really appreciate all the focus on love of collecting and collecting what you like. And I just got finished listening to the episode they had about growing the hobby, and they had Orlando, who probably everybody knows, on there, and his positive attitude. All that just gave me I got to make another video and talking about collecting what you love. And I've read stories that people have about beat up cards from when they were a kid, so it inspired me to bring this card out. So let me get to it, because I said this would be short. But this, as you can see, is Roy. Probably a lot of baseball fans know this is Roy Face. And I've had this card since I was 8, 10, 12, somewhere in there. And at the time, it was probably the oldest card I ever had. Maybe I had one older card or two, but I didn't have too much before 1965 when I was 10 years old. But I I don't even know what I guess if a store was selling this for a quarter, I guess it was still okay back then. But the reason I bought it back then, I don't remember if my dad was with me when I got it, probably, because I wasn't even old enough to drive to a store by myself. But my dad grew up in Pittsburgh, and I remember him telling me about Roy Face. I believe he would tell me about him before I found this card. I don't think I learned of him when I found this card. But my dad he was a great reliever. And I just looked up the stats now. I knew he had a great year where he won a ton of games in relief. I remember learning that from my dad. And I just looked it up, and it's on here. He was 18-1 in 1959. And I was reading, he was basically like the sort of forerunner of the modern closer. He was the first guy to have 20 saves in at least 2 seasons, which I'm sure they didn't call them saves. They didn't really have that stat back then. But he's pretty high up there in the when he retired, as far as appearances and innings pitched, and well, maybe not innings pitched because he was a reliever, but appearances and saves and that kind of stuff. So right there, Roy won 17 ball games in a row in relief in 1959, which is all kind of just amazing on all levels. I mean, back then, there were so many complete games. It's hard to believe a reliever would have that many decisions, 19 decisions. So anyways, this card, even if it was in much better condition, is not a high value card, but it has a lot of sentimental value. And my dad's still around. He probably doesn't even know I still have it. I should probably go show it to him. Hey, remember I got this card 40 years ago or whatever. It's not like overly sentimental for me, but it's, when I see it and I remember it, it's like, oh yeah, I bought that ripped up Roy Face when I was a kid because my dad told me about him. So it's just something I wanted to share because it's just one of those things that means something more than some other cards to me. And since I got back into collecting just recently, I've gotten cards that I should probably show to my dad too. Like this I just got over the weekend, last weekend, 1960 Bill Mazeroski. And when I saw it, I'm like, I need that. I have a few Mazeroski cards. I buy when I see a good deal on a Hall of Famer. That card that I don't have, I buy it. But just from being knowing my baseball history since I was a kid, and then also knowing a little bit more about Pittsburgh history because of my dad. My dad moved probably shortly after 1960, maybe in mid-60s. He moved to out of Pittsburgh, and he didn't really instill in us like fandom of Pittsburgh teams. He's not a Pirates fan really now, but he loved Clemente. And of course, as a kid, I talked to him about the 1960 World Series when Bill Mazeroski hit the walk-off game-winning home run in that series. So this is when I saw this, and it's from the year where he hit the game-winning home run. I had to get this and got a decent deal on it, I think. It wasn't too expensive. So those are two of my sort of sentimental Pirates cards. One that I've had for less than a week. One that I've had for, I'd say, at least 40 years. That's it. Thanks for watching.